Holy cow, guys. Check it out. Aventon dropped a bike on us just out of the blue. This is the Abound SR, and the SR stands for short rack. So it's just a smaller version of the Abound, you would think, but man, does this thing have a ton of tech in it. And it, to me, would be a bike thief's worst nightmare. So let's get into it. When it comes to the assembly of this bike, it is just as easy as it is with any normal event bike that you put together, except one thing. When it comes to this through axle here in the front, you're going to have to reverse it. It's reverse threaded. Don't let that throw you off. If you think, oh, I just can't get this wheel to go on, just turn it the other way and it will come together no problem. Now, the Abound SR is going to come to you as a Class 2 e-bike, which means you can get up to 20 miles an hour via this thumb throttle here on your left-hand side, your torque sensor down below, and your 3 levels of pedal assist. This bike can also be unlocked through the app to go up to 25 miles an hour. This bike weighs 80 pounds, but has a payload capacity of 440 pounds. And currently on their website, you can purchase this bike for $21.99, and it comes with a 2-year warranty. It does only come in a step-through version that you see right here, and the average rider height is between 4'11" to 6'3". It also comes in 3 colors: Stealth, Cobalt, and this haze color that I have right here. Now, when it comes to the mileage on this bike, Aventon says that the Abound SR will go up to 60 miles on a single battery charge. But if you've seen any of my reviews, you know that with the abuse that I'm going to put this bike through, it's not going to get anywhere near that kind of mileage. Hidden behind this mesh is a 36 volt, 750 watt brushless rear hub motor. It has a peak power of 950 watts and 80 Newton meters of torque. It has an 8-speed transmission, an Altus derailleur, and the Shimano 8-speed trigger shifter. It has a 52-tooth chainring with a double chainring guard and an overhead chain protector. One of the things that I wanted to point out is that this bike has a double-sided torque sensor. And what that means is whenever you're pedaling, instead of just one sensor reading the power going forward, it has 2 in there, making it so that it reads it quicker and it becomes smoother in reading the amount of power that it should give you while pedaling. For stopping power, you have the Tektro 2-piston hydraulic brake system and 180 millimeter rotors on the front and a 203 millimeter rotor on the rear. It has a spring-loaded adjustable front fork with 50 millimeters of travel. You can preload it and you can lock it out. It also has a suspension seat post with 50 millimeters of travel. The tires are by Innova. They are 20 by 3 inches. They have a great street pattern on them, and they are puncture resistant. When it comes to the battery, it is in this down tube right here. It is a 36 volt, 20 amp hours with 708 watt hours of power. Now you can charge it with this charging port right here while it's inside the bike with this powerful 4 amp charger, which will take your bike from 0 to 100% within 5 hours. Or you can remove the battery from this bike and charge it somewhere else. The first thing I've noticed with the safety features is that there is no physical key or lock to open up this battery. You have to use the Aventon phone app. Now to do that, you're just going to click on the battery right here and hit open. It's going to ask you if you want to unlock it. Yep. And right there, it popped open your battery. Now you can just pull it out and charge it indoors. The battery does come with a handle on it, and on the back side, there is a battery indicator so that you can see how charged it is when you're inside the home. To put the battery back in, you're just going to make sure your handle's closed, put the bottom in, click it, and it is locked and secure. This right here, this is my foldy lock, and that's where I've put that. So that's how I lock up all my bikes here in Chicago. So it doesn't come with this. This is something that I've added, but now you know how to get to the battery. This module is called the Aventon Control Unit and provides the following features. It has GPS tracking. It has 4G cellular communication, Bluetooth authentication, riding data logging, ride statistics, abnormal event logging, over-the-air updates, power off status reporting, and cloud synchronization. It also has some amazing security features like security verification, remote lock, e-lock kickstand, battery lock, alarm system, Geo Fencing, startup password, remote shutdown, and theft detection. The Abound SR has two UL certifications, the 2771 for the battery and the UL 2849 for the bike itself. It also has an IPX rating of 4, which means it can handle splashes from any direction. Additional features include metal fenders, plastic pedals, a Sail Royale seat with a quick release seat post, multiple mounting points, a rear rack that can hold 143 pounds, a stem that can raise up and down, and BMX style handlebars. Let's talk about size and fit. Now, overall, the bike is only 66 inches long. And when it comes to your shortest rider, well, you can lower this part all the way down to where it rests on the frame. And then we can lower the seat right here to do the same. Now, when you take a look at it, that's kind of the setup for your lower rider, except obviously these would be a lot lower. This isn't a quick release. You would have to use an Allen wrench to loosen everything up and move it straight down. But it does move up and down. The handlebars go back and forth, so you have a lot of customization when it comes to this bike. Now, if we just take a look at it from the highest point for your tallest rider, this is what that looks like. And obviously this could come up a little bit higher and you can adjust your handlebars. Now I am 5'9", 225 pounds with a 32-inch inseam, and this is how I'm gonna look like riding this bike today. Cockpit Operations. On your left-hand side, you have a single locking grip. You do see a mirror here. It will not come with a mirror. I added that on my own. This is your front brake lever right here. This is your throttle, and this is your control pad and display. To turn the bike on, we're going to hold the power button until the display lights up. And as you can see, it is a color display. Right here, you have the time. This is your battery level indicator, plus it shows you your percentage. Right here shows your miles per hour, and then it shows your different levels of pedal assist. You have Eco, Sport, and Turbo. To get other information from this display, you're just gonna hit the power button real quick. It's gonna show you your trip distance, trip time, average speed, max speed, your odometer, your total amount of time you have on the bike. Hit it one more time, gives you your total average speed and the kind of range that you got during that time. Hit it one more time and it takes you back to your main screen. This bike does have turn signals, so whenever you hit the turn signals, it does give you that little indicator right here showing left or right. There you go. To turn your headlight on, you're going to hold the plus button until your headlight comes on, and then you're going to hold the plus button again to turn it off. This is the headlight on the Abound SR, and although it is tiny, it does seem to be brighter than other headlights its size. When your headlight is turned on, your tail light comes on. Right here is your brake light, and then you can see the turn signals very clearly while you are riding. Turn the headlight off, and the brake light and turn signals still work. On your right hand side, you have your rear brake lever right here, and then this is your gear shifter. You use your thumb to put it down in gear, and you use your index finger to put it up in gear. It also comes with a bell. Let's hop into the advanced settings. To get to that, you can hit the plus and minus button, and that will take you into here. This is where you can clear your trip, which we are going to do that since we are going to test how far the bike goes today. So we clear the trip. We can lock the battery from here. We can lock the bike. And if you lock the bike, that means your kickstand cannot be pulled up. Display unit, this is where you change it from kilometers to miles. This is your display brightness, auto power off. How long do you want the bike to stay idle before it shuts off? You can put a password on this bike, which is another way to keep people from accessing the bike. This will give you your system info. You can set your date and time, and you can connect to the app. This is where things get interesting. This is the Aventon phone app, and it allows you to do all kinds of cool things with the bike. You can lock it. You just heard it lock. You can turn on the headlight with it. You can see what your battery level is. You can change out. Ooh, we've locked the bike, so let's unlock it first because it won't let us do anything to it until we do it. Then from there, you can kick it into the different pedal assist levels. You can track your mileage. It'll show you your maintenance. You can see what kind of things are going on. When you do get this bike, you will have to download some firmware updates with it. This is where you can run a diagnostics on the bike. You can pop into more settings right here. Now you can also adjust your screen brightness, the power off, your different rides levels, but you can also ride tune this bike. So you can control how much newton meters of torque, how much assistance it gives you, and your pedal response, all within these 3 different levels of pedal assist. You can track down your max amount of torque. I mean, there are just tons of different configurations that you can save with this bike. It has so many different things. This is where you can adjust the speed limit. I put it all the way up to 25 miles an hour. Your throttle will still only do 20, but through pedaling, you'll do 25. You bounce out of there. You can turn an alarm on the bike. You can tell it to be locked when the power is off. Security verifications, like universal activity detection. We're going to be turning some of these things on during the review so I can show you. Here's where you're going to update your firmware. Make sure that you do that very first thing after you get your bike set up. This is backup restore, and you can put it into transportation mode. And what that means is your bike will shut down, and to restart, you have to push the power button on the controller. That is a ton of features that you can adjust in this app. Let's go ahead and get this bike out on the road to see how it does. Since this has the ability to track your ride, I've already turned on Strava, and we're going to see how well the app works on tracking our ride today as well. We are here on the 606 trail here in Chicago. As you can see, it is a beautiful fall day. Had to layer up a little bit because it's only like 55 degrees. And we are riding in pedal assist 0, which means it's not providing any power to the bike or assist. Thumb throttle doesn't work. I have it in gear 4. We're cruising about 10 miles an hour pretty comfortably. Now let's test out the torque sensor on this bike. Since it does have that double sensor instead of just a single one like most of them, we're gonna see how much of a difference that it makes. Now I'm just cruising along at 11 miles an hour. I mean, if I put it up into a higher gear, it's gonna have a normal cruising speed of a higher speed. Like right here, we're cruising at 13 just because I went up in gear. Now, if I go ahead and crank on the pedals, well, the bike immediately launches forward, and in no time at all, I'm hitting the max 25 miles an hour, and that was incredibly smooth. We're going to go ahead and test the throttle. Now, I do know that it will go up to 20 miles an hour in each one of the modes, so that's the max it's going to go, but how fast will it get there in each one of these modes? So we're going to go ahead and put it down into Eco. We're going to start and see how long it takes for it to hit 20 miles an hour. We had a hesitation, but then we are launching pretty good. And boom, 10 seconds, it hit 20 miles an hour. So let's go ahead and see if Sport gets us there any quicker. And go. It does have that quick delay before it starts to take off, but then it picks up really quick. Boom, 8 seconds. Now we're going to try it in turbo and go. It still has the delay. Boom. It seems that Sport and Turbo are about the same speed. I know this bike will go up to 25 miles an hour, so we're going to do 2 things at one time. We're going to test out the pedal assist on this. We're going to put it in Eco. We're going to time it and see how quick we can hit 25 miles an hour. I put it into gear 4. Let's go. There we go. We hit it. About 12 seconds. Now we have it in Sport, and let's go. Boom. This bike is fast, guys. We don't even have it in turbo yet. Now we have it in turbo, and let's go. Woo, pulled the front wheel off the ground on that. Ooh, wow, this bike. We hit 25 real quick. It is time for the brake test, and we're going to do 2 different versions, one at 20 miles an hour and then the other one at 25 miles an hour. This way, if you decide to keep it locked in class 2 mode, we'll know how quick it stops. Oh, that was quick. I had a feeling these brakes were going to do really good. We're right at 17.5 feet. Not bad for 20 miles an hour. Round 2 on the brake test. Now we're going to do it at 25 miles an hour and see how quick it stops. Ooh, 25. This bike stops really, really well. They've used the upgraded Tektro brakes on this bike. You can feel it. One thing that I've always noticed with these Aventon bikes is you see no weld lines. This frame is so clean. I mean, it's just beautiful. And this paint just sparkles in this sun. Let's talk about safety features real quick. We have the half knee bar in mirror. This is my Seco light right here. That's because I like for it to flash and strobe so people can see me coming. We have the foldy lock. I mean, yeah, it is a safety feature because it does keep your bike from getting stolen. Although this bike has so many features to keep it from getting stolen, it's insane. And like always, flat out in each one of these tires. Since I've used this product, I have never once had a flat. Let's go ahead and check the speedometer versus the GPS. Right now it's showing we're at 20.2 miles an hour on the display, but 19 miles on the GPS, so just keep that in mind as we are tracking the mileage. When it comes to the first impressions about this bike, I love these BMX handlebars. Look at that, I'm trying to see if we can ride it without any hands, and we can. So that's good. Love the BMX handlebars, love the grips. This display I can see very clear, even though it is a smaller display. I think it's only like 2 point something inches, 2.8 maybe. I don't know, sounds like a good number. And, and when it comes to just riding this thing, look, I don't know if me and this seat is gonna get along. I always have an issue with these Sail Royale seats, and they always seem to be a little bit too hard, and I'm not sure this one's gonna make it. We'll know by the end of the trip. All right, you know what time it is. Let's do a little off-roading. Now, this bike isn't particularly made for this at all, but this thing is scooting. Let's see if we can jump in the oh gosh, bottoming out as I'm pulling this front wheel off the ground and just doing these little jumps. I mean, we're holding like 20 miles an hour, 19, 20. And this thing just, I mean, you could take this thing off-road for sure. I mean, the shorter distance on the forks, so you will bottom out as we did a couple times during this, but that thing's a good time. Let me show you this lock when powered off feature. We're gonna go ahead and push that. Now we have the kickstand down, the bike is on. I'm gonna turn it off. And you just heard this click, click, click. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but let me show you what the deal is with that. This kickstand right here will no longer retract, right? Like it will not go to the back. So if somebody tried to steal this bike, this kickstand is gonna stay down, this back wheel's not gonna be able to touch. They're not gonna be able to ride this bike away. Instead, they would have to pick it up. And this thing weighs 80 pounds. And so they're gonna have to pick it up and try to take it forward on one wheel. Not ideal at all. So that is a very impressive safety feature that they have on this bike. Now I've turned the bike back on and this will not unlock until I hit this button. And now you can move the kickstand. That is awesome. It is now time for the hill climb. This hill runs between 18 to 20% on the way up. We're gonna do it in a few different ways. Number one, we're gonna do it throttle only. We have it in eco mode, and let's see how easy it's gonna take for it to make it up this hill. And this thing is just scooting, right? Like I think this is gonna be a nice little hill climber, and it is. I mean, we are moving at 10 miles an hour up this hill. And that was just in eco mode. Now we have it in sport mode. We're gonna see if that is easier. And it still takes off the same, but we know that we've already tested it, that we do get more power or quicker power coming from it the higher level that you go. And we're still cruising at 9, 10 miles an hour. One more time in turbo mode, throttle only. Let's go. Once again, moving right up. Oh, we're actually going faster. It's showing that we're at 11 miles, or at least we were at that one area. Yeah, pull the front tire up. And realistically, they all felt the same to me, even though it was pulling just a little bit harder between eco and turbo. It's not really that much of a difference. So if you were gonna hit a hill, you might as well just keep it in eco and it'll make it up just fine if you're doing throttle only. Now we're gonna try the hill climb using pedal assist only. I do have it into eco mode, and let's give that a shot. Oh man, the assist kicked in almost immediately. That felt as if I had like a mid-drive. It kicked in so quick. Maybe that's where that double sensor comes in on the torque. And we're moving about 9, 10 miles an hour. So it wasn't that fast, but it also wasn't hard to do either. We're gonna try it again in sport. Here we go. I mean, yeah, you notice it. Oh, it's definitely easier. Oh, that's a big difference. We are flying 12, 13 miles an hour. 13, I hit 14 on the way up. Holy cow, this thing likes to climb. We have it into turbo. This is the final shot. Let's go. Yeah, this thing, I don't even know if the drone can keep up. We're at 14, 15, yeah, 16. Oh, we hit 16 miles an hour on the way up. This thing was super fast. What a climber this little billy goat is. Aventon, gosh, you guys make some really good bikes. It is time for the sand test. I have to be honest, I'm not very optimistic that this thing's gonna do well. We're gonna give it every chance that we can do. We put it into turbo mode. I have it into a low gear. Let's see what happens. Oh wait, I was mistaken. Well, what was I was thinking wrong? Oh, this thing is scooting right through the sand. Look at that. Oh, ah, that. Oh, I did not expect that at all, guys. So not only will this thing get you to the beach, it'll 100% get you through the beach. What do you, who knew? This bike also has a tracking feature. It works off of like a G4 network or 4G network, and it's showing us where our bike is right now. So unlike other companies to where you have to have an Apple phone to make this work, this is going to work on any phone that has this app connected to it that is connected to the bike. So whether I am right here or somebody takes off with it, I can easily find where the bike is. And this would even give me a Google Maps to get to it. Let's go in and check out these other settings. I have the alarm on. I have it locked when the power was off. Unusual security detection. You know, let's put that on high. This is where you can clear the password on the bike and then like reset one up. Security verification. Now this, every once in a while, will go ahead and send you information about the bike. They want to make sure that, you know, you still have it or the situation, the location, and all of that stuff about the bike. Let's test out this alarm system. Let's go ahead and lock the bike. Okay, when we did that, I heard the kickstand lock, right? So as you can see, it's not gonna come undone at all. So the alarm's on, the bike is off. And now, listen. That beeping is warning us that, hey, something is going on and to stay away. Oh, it's still doing it. And for you to stay away from the bike. Are any lights flashing or anything? Nope. So this is just warning you with those beepings saying, do not mess with this bike. This bike has a Geo Fencing option here. We're gonna create one and you can have these different designs and angles here. I'm trying to make this smaller. Oh, there we go. And apparently this bike is supposed to shut off if you go outside of this area. So we're gonna set this, we're gonna save it. Then we're gonna say zone 1, that's fine. And now it is turned on. Oh, entered the prohibited area. So we are in an area that it doesn't like. Do you see this? It shut off the bike like nothing works. I thought if you left the area, but no, if you are in the area, let's go ahead and edit that. So let's go ahead and try something a little bit different to see how this works. How about we just, can we move it? Oh yeah, we can move it. All right. Once we set this, we're gonna set it so that it's outside this area and then we're gonna ride into it and see what happens. Save. Now the bike turned back on. Oh my gosh, I am super excited about this. Hang on a second here. We're gonna head into the restricted area. And there it went. It just turned off when we entered it. I mean, how awesome is that, guys? Once you hit areas, these restricted areas, the bike just loses power. Now it doesn't, we're out of it. Then when you ride through it, it turns back on. Let's go ahead and ride into that area again. Huh, there it is. I think we just rolled right out of it. That is awesome. So now you can set it to ensure that if somebody rides it into, you know, to keep bike out of certain areas, that once it hits that area, it's going to shut off and say that it's in a prohibited area. That That is pretty awesome. All right, let's turn that Geo Fencing section off, and boom, it comes back on. That's pretty cool. I mean, wow. Just like with the Abound, you can put a lot of different accessories on this bike. You can put on a captain's chair, add pegs. You can put a seat pad on the back, a rear handlebar, a front rack, a rear rack basket, and panniers. Aventon is sending me the panniers, the front rack, and the rear basket. We're going to see how all of those work with this bike when they come in, so I can use this bike to run some errands. All right, guys, we are here downtown Chicago, and right here we have two boats passing. Both of them are doing the architectural tour. I've done it twice here in the city, and these are by far the best tourist attractions that we have. The entire way here, I had it in turbo. I'm gonna go ahead and put it back down into sport. There was a lot of traffic, so because of that, I kept it at 24, 25 miles an hour. You know, so when there's a lot of cars in the city, it's safer to go faster than it is slower. I know they say that the top speed is 25 miles an hour, but let's go ahead and see if we can get it to go faster than that. Oh, let's go ahead and put it into turbo. There we go. I'm trying to hit 26. We hit it, but you can't keep it. Woo, that's a leg smoker. Let's go ahead and check out the walk feature on this bike. Now, it is in sport mode. All you have to do is hold down the minus button, and it's going to go forward. And right now, it's doing 2.5 miles an hour. Oh, it's speeding up. But about 2.5 miles an hour is what it's going to go for the walk feature. I wonder if you put it in turbo, if it goes faster. Here we go. Give that a shot. And now it does like 2.6. Let's try the walk feature in eco mode and see how fast it goes then. All right, so it doesn't matter which mode that you're in. It's going to be the same speed every time. Just make sure you are in one of the 3 power modes, because if you were in off, it will not work. You know, I was concerned about this seat, but so far it is doing just fine. Hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a look at how the turn signals look like in bright sunlight. All right, here is our left turn signal. This is our right turn signal. And let's see what the brake light looks like. Woo! All right. Now, this is how you're going to look while riding this bike. It is comfortable. It is nimble. I'm really digging this ride today. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things. I want to see how the app is tracking. Now we're going to go here and see. So far, the display shows that we've gone 14.6 miles. Strava has shown that we're at 13.99. It's showing that we're at 14.6 miles. And it says that the way we're riding, our range is 23.3. Does that mean we have another 23.3, or I'm only going to get 23.3 miles out of this bike? We're going to find out, but so far this app is very close to the display and also in between Strava. So it's all pretty close. This is what I'm curious about. Do we have 23 miles total that we can go, or do we have 23 miles additional? Well, let's go find out. Here is another steep hill. Let me go ahead and put it into turbo mode, and we're gonna climb right up this bad boy. Let's go. Oh, so easy. I forgot to take a look at where we're at battery-wise. We have 58%. Once we hit 50, we'll probably start heading back. Let me show you another feature on this bike. This is the LOT service or whatever. Basically, this is how your 4G network works. You're going to have to sign up and accept it. It's going to be active, and right now it looked like the app gave me my first year for free, and then after that it's only 20 bucks a year to control all of this stuff. So I think that's a pretty good deal. I have tried to make the alarm go off on this bike, and I have not been able to figure out how to do it yet. So I'm going to get with Aventon, We're going to figure out what's going on. All I've been able to do is make it beep, which I showed you that before. I've tried to make the alarm go off, and I haven't been able to do it. Let's go ahead and hit this hill. This hill's about a 25% grade, but it is a good time. Let's kick it down in some gears so we can make it up this hill. Let's get in this line right here. I mean, this hill is pretty big when you consider other hills that are just, you know, around the city. I mean, this is just like in the middle. And there we are. Boom. Made it here to the top, no problem. You can see they're getting ready for football, setting up football fields and stuff like that. Oh, let's go. I know this bike's not supposed to be off-road, but I sure do enjoy taking it off-road a lot. I want to take a look at something here. I know this thing says range. It says that we have 12.8 miles left, but it is in turbo. So let's put it into sport, bounce into here and see what it says. Our range is now 15.5. Okay, we'll put it down into eco, and it's showing that our range is 18.3. So this does tell us how much range we have left before the battery dies. Since I am going to ride it in sport mode, we have 15.5 miles to head back. I think we're a good 10 miles from the house. So we'll go out a couple more miles. Oh no, we're not gonna play that game. Actually, we're gonna turn around, and if I'm gonna run out of power, I'd rather it be closer to the house. So at least that mystery has been figured out. And the reason I figured we would head back is I remember that when I'm riding in the city, I like to put it in sport, especially when I'm around cars, because in that way I can keep up or stay out of their way. Look at these guys on their little miniature. Oh, hi. I could take the long way around, but I'm gonna hit this hill one more time on the way back. I mean, just climbing is so easy, and it's a shortcut. This bike is geared extremely well. I spend very little time in gear 8. 6 and 7 seem to be my happy place just because of how this bike rides. I have also realized I am riding into the wind, so it is definitely a good idea that I turned around when I did. I'm keeping the display on the range, so that way it'll give me an idea before I run out. I do really like the fact that it does have that information. On Aventon, they have the same thing on the Ramblers, and that is pretty awesome as well. So we're gonna see if we can get another 11 miles out of this bike in turbo mode. We have made it to the 606 trail. It is telling me that we have 7.1 miles that we can go while in turbo, and we are only 3.3 miles from the house. So let's go ahead. I keep hitting this bell just randomly. Let's go ahead and use throttle and see how it does. We have made it to the end of the 606 trail. It looks like we still have 15% battery power, 4.2 miles. So you know we're gonna turn around and get every drop out of this bike that we can. Well, I don't really know how far I've gone out, but I know it's been well more than a mile. It shows that we have 2.7 miles before we run out of battery. 2.4 now. Ooh, did I go out too far? I guess we're gonna find out. Looks like we have about 7% on the battery right here, and holding the throttle down instead of 20 miles an hour, we're still doing about 16. It's showing that we have 1.3 miles left, but we're only doing like 13, 14 miles an hour. So at this point, we're gonna bring it on home. We're gonna see what the final mileage is, and I'm gonna give you my final thoughts. I just used the turn signals, and I noticed that they kick off automatically. Let's see how many it takes for that to happen. 1, 2, 14, 15. So 15, and that is a good thing, because if you forget to turn them off, at least you're not riding around the world with your turn signal on. Oh, I'm a couple blocks from the house, and look, it put it into the off position. I have 4% battery, and whenever I try to put it into gear, it says battery low, e-assist off. So it is just me and the bike at this point. So it seems like whenever you get close to that 1 mile, where it shows you have 1 mile left, that's when it's gonna cut off. That last couple blocks of riding this thing without power was no problem at all. And I have to tell you, I am pretty impressed with this bike. When the bike ran out of battery power, when you look at the display, it showed that it was at 32.4 miles. Now, I am pleased that the Aventon app tracked the entire ride and also showed that it was 32.4 miles as well. But if you remember, when we were checking out the display to the GPS, this bike shows that it was going 1 mile faster than what we were showing on the GPS. So because of that, Strava showed that we went 31.21 miles. I'm going to have to give it to Strava because of that, mileage difference on the display. Either way, this bike going over 30 miles with how much I beat it up and going up those hills and, going through the sand, I have to, give it to this thing because it was a very nice ride and this bike moved along no problem. Now we did map 26 miles as the top speed on this bike. So really it's going to be 25 miles. So they are correct when they say that it has a 25-mile limit. The security features are top notch on this bike. I mean, I don't know another bike that has this kind of security to it. I mean, the fact that the kickstand locks is amazing. It that the geo fencing that part was really cool as well. So I mean, they have really thought about a lot of tech stuff to keep people from stealing things off your bike or to steal your bike entirely. I mean, the fact that you need an app to pop this battery open, well, I mean, that also can stop people from stealing your battery. Aventon thought of a lot of things when it came to the safety and security of this bike. I thought I wasn't going to like this seat, and it is harder than what I am used to, but it did just fine with this 30 miles. Now, am I going to switch it out? Most likely, yes, but that is just a personal preference. Plus, my wife's going to end up with this bike, so I already know the kind of seat that she likes. These grips were excellent. I knew they would be. I have the bike turned off and the alarm system on it, so it is beeping to let us know that, hey, do not touch this bike. Now, I wasn't able to get the alarm to go off, but as you can tell, it makes noise and it's like, hey, don't touch me. And so I won't. I wonder how many times it's going to do that. It's already done it 4 times. That's number 5. So I wonder if it's going to keep doing it until I turn the bike off. But nope, that was 5 times. Okay, good. 5 times it's going to make that noise. And like I said before, I wasn't able to get the alarm to go off, but maybe I did something wrong. Aventon's going to see this review and they'll kind of tell me, and maybe I'll end up doing a short so that I can show you guys how the alarm works, or maybe it is just how it is. Now, if you are interested in this amazing bike, because there's a lot of things that I love about it, then I'm going to leave a link down in the description below. That's going to take you exactly where you need to be. You can find out more information about this bike. I mean, I feel like I've covered everything, but you can always learn more information, and that link below will get you right there. Plus, if you're interested in the bike and you decide to purchase it, well, it's not going to cost you any extra, but it does help support the channel. Speaking of support, well, if you could just go ahead and maybe ring the bell or subscribe or something like that, that is also very helpful. So, it doesn't cost you any money to do that. And I also appreciate it. But that's it. That's everything I have on the Aventon Abound SR. And I want to thank you for watching. So until I see you again, enjoy the ride.